I want to welcome everyone to today's webinar. We've got special guest Kyle Hunt, who runs the Remodelers on the Rise coaching group, and he's going to do an awesome presentation today about how you can strengthen the 4 core pillars of your business. So appreciate everyone coming out. It's going to be jam-packed, so we're going to go ahead and dive right in. But first thing, need to give a shout out to our Texas Rangers. We super excited. We're all located here in Dallas, Texas, so we had a nice little watching party with the team. Super excited to have won the World Series for the first time ever. Very, very monumental day for us here in Texas. So
Eric, you're getting booed. You're getting booed in the comments.
Oh, I don't think so. Oh, Matt Lamb, come on now. But speaking of Matt Lamb, Matt had the reigning title there of our 1,000th customer. I am super excited, even more excited than the Rangers winning the World Series. That JobTread has now reached 2,000 active customers. So it was a double whammy yesterday. Super excited. Our team was on cloud 9. So we really appreciate all of you for being part of this community with us, and really for continuing to spread the word. Making sure that others out there know about us. It's working. We're growing. We really appreciate all of your support, and look forward to doubling up again. Our goal for next year will be 4,000. So, we got a couple months here towards the end of the year that'll give us a little bit of a head start. But again, really appreciate all of you for everything you've done to help us build this awesome community. So we've also got, quick little shout out again. If you're not part of our JobTread Pros Facebook group, definitely get on there. We're over 1,700 members now. It's a great place to ask questions, share best practices, kind of keep up with all the updates. Often you find out things first in that group. But definitely love to have everyone join us if you're not part of it. It's a really awesome group. You also probably want to check out Kyle's group. He's got a really great group too, Remodelers community. So again, lots of really
some would say it's even better than JobTread Pros, and I mean that's saying something.
Well, you got a couple fanboys over there that we hadn't got converted to JobTread Pros yet, but Paul, we're coming for you.
You do have him. You probably printed out a picture of him you got in your office.
Oh yeah, I got a bullseye on that guy. But anyway, so also, if you're not following along on our podcast Builder Stories, got an awesome update, new podcast episode that came out this last Wednesday. Never stop promoting your business. Luan from Deck Bros has got an incredible story. Just really, really great story. Definitely worth tuning into that one. But lots of great episodes. So subscribe.
Laurel with She Builds is a client of mine, and the first time she reached out to me, heard that literally the email said, "Kyle, I'm ready to take over the world. Can you help me?" She's quite ambitious.
Yeah, incredible story. Very, very awesome story. We've also got, again, JobTread Connect. Just a reminder, January 17th to the 19th, grab your tickets as soon as you can. JobTread.com/connect. You can learn all about it. Really excited too that we've got Kyle Hunt this year as one of our keynote speakers. I actually pulled up the photo earlier, Kyle, that we had where all of the Remodelers on the Rise crew that was there at JobTread Connect this last go round. We all took a photo and posted it in Kyle's group saying, "Kyle, where are you at?" So I'm super excited to be able to deliver Kyle back to the get him out there to our event this year. It's gonna be really awesome. And without further ado, I want to introduce Kyle Hunt here. Again, he runs the Remodelers on the Rise group. It's a business coaching service. He provides personalized strategies and solutions, both group coaching and one-on-one. We've got him in the JobTread marketplace where you can learn more about it. You can, reach out to him directly through that. We've also added links to his website. We're going to add the link to your Facebook group as well. He's also got a podcast, but again, everyone, I can't express enough how awesome Kyle is. I've known him for I don't know, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years now. I remember I originally tried to join his group, and I think he might have denied me at first, but then maybe I tried to join again. And he reached out and he said, "Hey, typically I don't really let vendors and sponsors and people in here, but you got something interesting going on." So we hopped on the phone and talked for a while. And the thing about Kyle and his group is that we really love just his focus on helping contractors build better businesses. It's very rare that you find such genuine people who at the end of the day would bend over backwards to help their community and to help his members. And so it's just been an honor being able to get to know Kyle and be part of his group. we have now formed a partnership here. We're both in the business of trying to help contractors.
I even got a hat.
Hey, where's my hat, Kyle? On your webinar, you're asking where your JobTread one was.
It's fair.
I made it happen.
It's fair.
So yeah, so Kyle, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it away, and why don't you drop some knowledge on us?
Hang on, I'm currently texting Bailey. Send Eric hat. Got it. It'll be here before you know it.
Awesome.
Excellent. So we are going to talk about the 4 core pillars of your business. I already saw somebody go, wait, is there only 4? I mean, there's a lot of different pillars. What we're going to focus on today are what I see in my 15 years of coaching as kind of 4 core pillars. Already got a nice little introduction there. I've been coaching remodelers and contractors for going on a little over 15 years now. Love the industry. I used to work for a remodeler, taking care of all of their marketing and advertising, got involved in managing their showroom and their designers, got involved in the financial side of the business. And it was probably about 16 years ago, I turned to my wife and I said, honey, we got 1 kid, another one on the way. It's a crappy economy here in Michigan, not a lot of money in the bank to fall back on, and I want to quit my job and start my own business. Yay. Of course, she was just like, that sounds wonderful. I'm not worried about that at all. But as the years got started and what happened is just kind of piece by piece, kind of put my flag in the ground and said, you know what, I really love the remodeling and contracting and building industry. Started talking to some different home builders associations, started picking up some clients, and I've just gone very deep into this niche of the industry. Love what I do. It's enough for now. Cool. So the 4 core pillars that we're going to dig into, we've got financials. We've got number 2, marketing. We've got number 3, sales process. And we've got number 4, leadership. What we are going to do is I'll share several thoughts related to each of the 4. Take a couple questions here and there. I do very much thrive off of some chat and some takeaways and some questions, so please be active there. And then we'll leave a little Q&A time for the end. Here we are covering 4 pillars. We're doing it in the span of within an hour, so we'll spend a good 10 minutes or so on each. Rock and roll. These are 4 areas that I see that drive your business, and as you're kind of paying attention to this, what I want you to think about is maybe identify which one, not 4, but which one needs your attention the most. And then really look for what I kind of call the next right thing to do, and maybe also some takeaways. I think a lot of times we focus on too many things at once, or if you think about it, if you look at 100% of the time you spend working, most of the time for a lot of you, 90% of that time or so is spent in the business, doing the work in the business that you do day in and day out. Maybe it's designing, maybe it's swinging the hammer, maybe it's estimating, fill in the blank, maybe it's sales. And then you got about 10% of your time that can be spent on the business. And what I see too often, and I can be guilty of it sometimes as well, is in that small amount of time you have to work on the business, we try to shove like 6 or 7 different things to work on. So we end up getting a little bit of progress on several different things, more focus on fewer things, driving it to completion and implementation will usually move the needle more. So a little bit of coaching there. Cool. So core pillar number 1, financials. I'm not going to say this is my favorite, but it's kind of my favorite. Understand your key numbers and make more money in your business. Buckle up. We got some numbers. Got some numbers on the screen. Do not be alarmed. Do not get worried. We're just going to talk about some numbers. We're going to talk about some P&L statements. Your profit and loss statement is your friend. All right. So just let's look at this. We're talking about financials, this core pillar of your business. Let's just look at what we have on the screen here. We've got all kinds of things to kind of dissect. Here's a business that at the top, we have total revenue of $2 million. As we look through our profit and loss statement, the next section on our profit and loss statement says cost of goods sold, COGS. What's in here? We got materials. We got trade partners or subcontractors. I usually don't call them subcontractors because they're not sub anything. They're our trade partners, our trusted trade partners. We got our trade partners in there. We've got materials. We've got our in-house field labor, our carpenters, etc. So on this, what we see is we've got 1.5 million of the 2 million is being used up in cost of goods sold. That's showing that 75% Every dollar that we're bringing in is showing up in cost of goods sold. Total revenue minus cost of goods sold equals gross profit. Say it with me, everybody. Gross profit. Gross profit is not talked about enough. We need to be paying much closer attention to gross profit. We need to have some goals related to gross profit. We need to be looking at our overall financials and our gross profit. We also need to look job by job on this. So one of the benefits of having JobTread going is our gross profit is much more apparent. But with this business, this minus this equals $500,000 of gross profit. That is leaving a 25% gross profit margin. Now, if I were to pause there and say, is that good? Bad? Something else? Type in a couple answers to that. Is that 25% gross profit margin? How would you kind of rate that? What would you say about that? Let's see how quick you guys are and how quick Zoom is. Conway says low. All right. Could be higher, Eric says. Yeah. Low. Livable, says Matt. Depends. Average. Not that good. Not bad. Okay. So there's good, fair. All right. So there's a mixed bag. Nobody is saying, Ben, if we were expecting 10%, it's great. If you plan for 30%, not good. All right. We're thinking. So, in and of it by itself, if we compare it to industry averages, you might say, yeah, it's a little bit on the low side. But if I'm running a business that is very lean, very low overhead, it might be just fine and dandy. Ben is getting to the point where he said, well, doggone it, I actually was selling everything at a 30% margin. I was selling everything at a higher margin. And here I look at my overall profit and loss statement, and I've got it sitting at 25% instead of 30. What we call that is we are making less in gross profit than what we were expecting, and that is called slippage. So if that was the case, like Ben was saying, this is no good. I'm ticked at this. I'm not happy with this. What is going on with this? Why is it lower than what I'm expecting it to be? Okay. If it was higher than what we were expected to be, that's called grippage. Okay. So there's a little bit. We'll get into that a little bit more. So there's our gross profit. Now we have our overhead expenses. That's coming in at $300,000. Oftentimes, when we look at our overhead expenses, a lot of you will have kind of a reasonable owner salary in that number, usually. And then in this case, what we're looking at here, it's showing a net profit of $200,000. And if I asked you to say, what do you think of that? A lot of you would go, 10% net profit. It's pretty good. If we're at 8, 10, 12%, that seems pretty solid. All right. So we got to dig into that. One more wrinkle on this is a lot of times if you don't have your owner salary in overhead expense, or if a lot of your owner compensation is coming through the form of an owner draw, that is coming out of net profit. So in this case, we're sitting there going, okay, yeah, it's 200,000 of net profit minus owner draw. This is just one little example of, all right, we've really got to understand our numbers. So one takeaway here is just one, this is to get your neurons firing. And two, financials are a very key core pillar in your business. You need to be a student of your numbers. You need to keep leaning into your understanding of this. Get more training if it's fuzzy. It is very, very apparent that the biggest, I'm going to say the biggest, I was about to say almost the biggest factor in the remodelers and contractors that I see that are successful in business, that are making a really nice living, that are you could say remodelers on the rise, if you will. They understand their numbers, but a lot of times they don't start with a great understanding of that. So if this is fuzzy at all, that should be a takeaway. I've got to dig into my numbers more. Let me share just a few other could say rants, or just a few other items related to this first core pillar of financials. We need to estimate carefully. Estimate carefully. So much of us, so many people will say, I just don't like estimating. Estimating is just not a lot of fun. Let's change the narrative. You love estimating. The reason you love estimating is because that is where so much of your gross profit and your overall profitability is coming from, or where you are losing it. Every estimate you do, especially if you're dialing in JobTread, if you've got your job costing going, and we'll talk about job costing in a second, we are continually improving. Every estimate we do, we are continually improving our estimating system, our estimating process. It is such a critical system in your overall business. And sometimes we just need to have a better attitude about it. Have a good attitude about estimating. Continue to spend time. Every hour you spend diving into your estimating program, streamlining it, improving it, working on your templates is an hour very, very, very well spent. I like to talk about how you spend time in your business as $10 an hour work, $100 an hour work, and $1,000 an hour work. When you are improving your estimating system, it is in that $1,000 an hour work. That is very, very valuable work that you can be doing. So estimate carefully, lean into that. Another thing related to financials, set a business budget and review it. As part of my, one of the programs I have is called the VIP Club. VIP Club 2024. If you come to JobTread Connect, you'll see a booth and we'll be talking about it quite a bit. But we just did a training yesterday on your overall business budget. It is a good time of the year to be diving into your business budget. And because I'm feeling friendly, I bet you if you send an email to Bailey, Bailey at remodellersontherise.com, and you said, Kyle was talking about the business budget and how it's really important to go in and create our 2024 business budget, to go in and wrestle with all of your overhead expenses, get that accurate, your top line revenue, your cost of goods sold. I bet you if you emailed her and said, would you happen to have a link to the training Kyle did on the business budget? I bet you your friends at Remodelers on the Rise will send that to you. But create that business budget. Have something that helps you be prepared for the year coming up. When we have our business budget dialed in, we are making wiser decisions. We see much more clearly how we can make additional investments in your business, a new hire in your business, invest more in marketing, etc. So take that seriously. Another two items related to this core pillar of financials. Understand markup and margin. Pretty interesting in JobTread. A lot of the way that you guys are calculating your estimates and your pricing is very heavily focused on the margin side. And frankly, a lot of people in our industry have been trained based on markup, taking your cost times 1.40. We need to really understand that difference between markup and margin and just have that locked in. You'll probably get copies of the slides, but if you bust out your phone right now and you grab that little QR code, there's just nice little, probably about 6 minutes long, that just digs in and explains to you exactly how markup and margin works. You'll see a little video, and then you'll also see a little PDF that shows you kind of a markup versus margin sheet. I would recommend you print that out and just study that. Try to be real practical, folks. I'm going to leave that on the screen just for a second. Okay, so understand that. This is all about knowing your numbers. And the last thing I wanted to mention related to this first core pillar is related to job costing. Better scan that quick. 3, 2, 1. Oh, Bailey's on. Bailey was debating whether she was going to go. Bailey, earlier, Eric was like, dude, where's my hat? So just let's put a rush on it. Let's overnight it to him so he has it at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The last one on the pillar is job costing. Why does this matter? When you have proper job costing, you see your expected cost versus your actual cost. When you have those lined up and you can see, I estimated 20 hours on demo. It took us 30. Did I underestimate it? Is my team full of knuckleheads and they move too slow? Was I too optimistic in my hours? What's going on there? You go to plumbing and you get a number that says my estimated for my plumber was $3,000 and it came in at $3,300. That's going to jump out at what do we get? What do we learn from that? When we are paying attention to our job costing, the speed at which you can increase your profitability and increase your success as a remodeler, as a builder, as a contractor, it is a dial that you can tweak that improves things in your overall situation very quickly. Take job costing seriously. Wrestle with your job costing in your systems until you have it dialed in. When you have that dialed in, it is hard not to improve rapidly. It helps with your overall estimating. You become a better estimator when you're job costing because you're continually seeing and making improvements. It gives you confidence in selling. When I know what my margin needs to be at, when I know how my costs work, I'm going to be a more confident salesperson and go out there and get the margins and markups that I need. It gives you clarity on where your money is going. Instead of this, man, why is there not as much money as I was expecting in my bank account? Where is it all going? The job costing shows you that very clearly. Highlights which projects are most and least profitable. Some of the best projects for us are the ones that we turn down. When you start doing job costing, you realize maybe for you, a small bathroom really stinks for you. Maybe it's a deck, maybe it's something else. but that's a strategic help for you when we do that. And we can just clearly see grippage, yay, and slippage, boo. Job costing is very, very important. So I just gave you kind of an outline of how we're going through this here webinar, folks, about 10 minutes on each of the 4 key pillars. What I would love to see in the chat box related to the financials one is maybe somebody wants to throw out one question that we can talk about. And then everybody that's listening to this should have a takeaway. What's a takeaway or a next step? What's something that you're going to, you know what, I got to lean a little bit heavier into fill in the blank. I'm going to work on fill in the blank. I'm going to request that business budget or markup and profit, markup and margin. And then maybe somebody has a question. Give me a few takeaways. I'm going to ask for them after each of the pillars. Ron wrote in there needs to be at 50. Okay, gotcha. Lean heavier into estimate. Chris, you love estimating. It's not, I got to estimate. No, my man, you love estimating. It is where money is made. Chad said accurate job costing is and has been our biggest struggle. Chad, are you going to be saying that? Chad, when you come to the JobTread Connect and I see you in mid-January, the question is, are you going to still say that accurate job costing is and continues and has been our biggest struggle? Think about what the next step is. Is it getting your systems to connect together? Is it matching up what is going into maybe QuickBooks with the line item in JobTread? What is it that's the next step? And also, this is just for Chad. Chad, if you email Bailey and say, hey, this is Chad, Kyle's willing to give me that job costing lesson. That's just for Chad because that's part of a paid program I have. Chad, if you email her and ask for a job costing lesson, you'll have that in your inbox. Watch that training that I have. It will help you. Eduardo says, dive in with my bookkeeper and understand all my numbers. Eduardo, you got to carve out time for that. You need to set up a monthly meeting with that bookkeeper for an hour. Maybe it's every 2 weeks, and it's only about you understanding all your numbers. You ask question after question. Hey, I didn't get it. Go over that again with me. Lean into that. On the other side of you understanding all your numbers is a more profitable business owner. Takeaway, make sure my cost of goods sold and expenses are in the right spot. Love it. If I have all of my field labor down in overhead expenses, my whole P&L is all messed up. Going through and making sure all cost of goods sold related things are where they're supposed to be and all overhead expenses are where they're supposed to be. Now we can analyze our profit and loss statement and our job costing much clearer. Focus on costing materials and labor accurately. Yes, improve that estimating. Switch your chat to he's saying switch your chat to everyone. Deeper review of job costing. Dive into your historical margins on like jobs. See which ones are stinking and see which ones are great. Love it. Woo, you guys are killing it. All right, wonderful. All right, so that was core pillar number 1. Core pillar number 2, marketing. Simple definition of marketing. Getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. Getting someone who has a need to know, like, and trust you. If I may, I just have a smattering of marketing related advice and maybe a little coaching to just get you sparked. The goal again is to kind of present some ideas in each of these core pillars with the hope that you're going to prioritize one of them and have a very tangible takeaway or two that you're going to do something with. You're not taking time out of your day so that you can have a bunch of additional ideas. You have enough ideas of what to work on, but being encouraged, being motivated, seeing it in a little different angle, maybe prioritizing and getting real specific with what you're going to work on next. That's how improvements are made. That's so much of what I do in my coaching. So a few thoughts related to marketing. Track your leads. Hold your marketing dollars accountable. If you are spending money on a marketing initiative, a marketing tactic, and you ask me, hey, Kyle, we've been running this ad for the last year. Do you think we should renew it? And do you think we should continue to do it? My first question will be, well, how has it performed? How has it done? What has it generated? Well, we haven't really been asking people that call in exactly where they found out about us. We haven't really been tracking it. My gut's kind of telling me this or that. Track your leads. What gets measured gets improved. What gets measured gets improved. You might even write that down if you're taking notes. If you're driving, don't do it. What gets measured gets improved. Track your leads. Keep it simple. I do believe, Eric, can you unmute for a second? Does JobTread make it fairly easy to even track our leads and to kind of mark down where leads are coming from?
Yeah, I mean, you can basically set up your lead funnel there. keep track of the lead sources. I mean, you get to add all of those custom fields to track what's important and relevant to you. So 100%, definitely take the time to make sure you know where your leads are coming from.
Bingo. I knew you were going to be my wingman during this, but you nailed that, man. You're like Max Scherzer. He's literally the only Texas Ranger that I know. My dad texted me the other day when he saw who was in the World Series. I haven't been following baseball nearly as much. I'm up here in Michigan. The Tigers have sucked for 10 years. And he's like, do you know a single Texas Ranger or Houston Astro? And I'm like, Mad Max. Wait, I said Houston Astros. That was the previous one. Arizona Diamondbacks. Don't know any of them. Congratulations on your title, by the way. All right. So that was track your leads. A few other, these are getting into a little bit of tactics. When I think of marketing for the great majority of remodelers, contractors, let's start with, we're going to talk about these four, just kind of rapid fire a little bit. Your website. Is your website something that you are proud to show off to a prospect? If you had an ideal client that went to your website, are you very happy that they are there? In other words, is it up to date? Is it representing you well? Does it clearly show your process and shows off your work? A lot of times the second most viewed page on a remodeler's website is the Our Team page. People love to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So maybe it's time to dust off your website, have a couple people on your team, have a spouse, have a friend. Hey, can you review our website? What do you see that doesn't make sense? What do you see that you like? What's kind of missing from this? Maybe pick a page once a month and go in and update it. A lot of you, your website is the central hub of your marketing plan, of your marketing efforts. We want to make sure it's representing us really well. So maybe it's time to put a little priority. Maybe that's a next step for you. Another one here says strategic partners. Strategic partners. Look at what my friend Eric and I are doing. He has his clients are my ideal clients, and vice versa. We're just natural strategic partners. More importantly than that, we both approach business in a way that we both very much respect. So we're figuring out some ways, hey, how can I help you out? And vice versa, how can you help me out? Same thing goes for you. You have a lot of strategic partners. A strategic partner, anybody who shares the same ideal client as you do. Could be architects, designers, realtors, high-end landscapers, painter, plumber. There's a lot of people that with a little bit of extra focus can turn into really nice referral partners for you. I like to suggest doing a BLB. If somebody wants to know what a BLB is, they're going to have to type that in the chat box. I might answer that during Q&A time. I'm not going to answer it right now. Strategic partners. Set up a BLB. I haven't seen it in the box yet. Okay. Meet with your strategic partners. Figure out ways that you can help them. It will come back to you. BLB. Michaela just said BLB. I think that means Michaela wants to know what a BLB stands for. Breakfast, lunch, or beer. Hey, architect, can I take you out to breakfast? Just want to get to know you a little bit, hear about the projects that you're doing, get to know, if you'd be a good referral partner for us, if you're able to take on projects, etc. So that's an often overlooked area of marketing. Another one here says referral program. Referral program. If somebody sends you, this is more for homeowners. If you have a previous client that sends you a beautiful kitchen project, are they seeing your thanks? Most of my clients, when we receive a beautiful kitchen referral, we will send them a little card. We will reach out to them personally, thank them so much for that. When that project turns into an actual paying project, listen to this carefully. When that referral turns into a paying project and we're going through our new client checklist, we're converting that to a sale. We're setting up a folder. We're getting the job sign going. We're doing all the things as a new client checklist. There's also a little thing that we have to check off. Was this client referred? If so, send them thank you card and $100 gift card to local restaurant. When you thank and when you reward somebody that refers you, chances are studies have shown they're going to refer you more often. Make sure you are thanking people that are extending that trust. And also previous clients. Your previous clients, for a lot of you, is one of your most valuable marketing assets. And for a lot of you, you did a beautiful bathroom 2 years ago for them, and they haven't heard squat from you. They haven't heard squat from you. That's not good. We want to continue to build know, like, and trust. It is great for repeat work. It is great for referral work. By the way, I'm not going to be a big promoter here, But if you do scan that, I have a really nice little program called Remodelers Autopilot. It's really specifically, beautifully made for remodelers. Done for you email newsletter, done for you social media posts, pretty inexpensive. Some might say it's awesome. It even says it on the slide. This is a great way to get started with consistently staying in touch with your previous clients.
Hey, Kyle, could I just take a moment to thank you for all of your referrals to us? I think you're our number 2 refer with
Crap.
over.
Number 2, though.
Well, you got a little bit of catching up to do with the number 1, but
Fine.
yeah, we appreciate it, and I think we're over 100 members have come out of the remodelers community. So hey, 3 digits.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Cool.
Yeah.
Couple other marketing. My pleasure, by the way. A couple other marketing related stuff. Secure Google reviews. You have a previous client. You have somebody that loves you. Text them and say, can you do me a favor? Don't put anything else in there. Can you do me a favor? They will respond, sure, what? I am trying to secure 5 Google reviews during the month of November. Can you help me with that? They will say yes. And then 2 weeks will go by and they will not have done it. Most of them won't. And you need to follow up with them. Those Google reviews are incredibly valuable marketing pieces. And it's a matter of making that a priority. Create a little sheet in your office, put it on the wall and say Google reviews 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make it a priority. Look at that goal. And when you get one, cross it off. Assign somebody on your team that goal. Get more Google reviews. If you have 5 Google reviews, no. You're one bad Google review away from people that are referred to you, people that are searching for you to go, is this a reputable company? Make that a priority. Have a plan and budget. When you think of your marketing, have a plan. Just keep it practical. I'm giving you a bunch of different tactics. It's a matter of deciding which tactics you are going to prioritize and then really focus on executing it. And it's so much about consistency. Consistency, month in, month out. Make sure marketing is a priority for you. Let me pause there. Oh, Toby said that's a lot of $100 gift certificates. Nah, Toby, I'm more a hat guy. I'm gonna just get a lot of hats for those referrals. Plus, in this case, some of these lovely JobTread clients have been reaching out to me. So just a little bit of reciprocity, we call it. Type in a marketing takeaway. Give me a marketing takeaway, pretty please now. Okay, we're gonna keep cruising. We'll keep an eye on those takeaways. Number 3 is sales process. Sales process. Core pillar number 3, sales process. A powerful and organized sales process is key. Ooh, I love the takeaways flying in. So one thing related to your sales process, I see it very, very often that if I simply said, can you hand me a sheet of paper that says this is how we work? 5 very powerful words. Could you hand me a sheet of paper that says, yes, here is our process? And when I look at it, I see 1, initial phone call and discussion of your project. 2, in-home consultation and ballpark range. Here's what we do here. 3, we enter the design and project development phase. Here's what that looks like, and here is the cost of that. 4, we do this. I know it sounds kind of simple, but so often you are verbally sharing this. Everybody that the majority of people that you're working with have not done major remodeling projects, or they're coming with these preconceived notions of what this process is going to be like. If you don't have your simple kind of client-facing step-by-step process, usually it's got 5 steps that you can go through during your sales process. They can see on a page of your website. That should be a priority for you. It is such a helpful tool to get people to understand how you work and to elegantly guide them through the process. If you don't have that, that can be a sales process takeaway. And then I just have a little bit of a list. Some might say it's a list of 8 of just some additional sales tips that I do a lot of coaching on and that are some reminders. So number 1, it says, explain the process clearly. I like to number those steps. Just step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very powerful approach for your sales process. Another little tip, highlight the benefits to them. When I think of remodelers who are doing and charging for design and project development, or who are putting a lot of effort into the design and project development phase, there are so many benefits to the client for that. We do so much work up front before a hammer ever hits the job site. And the reason that we do that is because if you go through this process and we don't have the design fully dialed in and decided on, if you sign this contract and there's all kinds of selections that we still haven't finalized, if our scope of work and the details of exactly what we're going to do on your project are murky and not very clear, that is where you see all of the horror stories that you see on the news that maybe you've experienced before, of projects that take way too long, end up costing way more than you expect, and are just clunky and frustrating. Our process is focused on giving you a project and an experience that is wonderful, that is on time, that is on budget. There's so many benefits that we need to practice and share to the client. So highlight the benefits to them in how you approach your process. Third little sales tip, bring energy. Be confident. Bring energy, be confident. When you're getting ready, you're meeting that client for the first time at their home, you may have had kind of a crappy day. You may have gotten an annoying email from one of your kids' teachers. You and your spouse may have had a little spat in the morning. Who knows? Who knows? Whatever that is, taking a breath, making sure that you are bringing your best version to that client, realizing that that matters, to bring some energy, to be confident, to be focused and be right where you are. I've got this little sticky note right under my desk. One of it says one at a time, meaning stop trying to do 4 things at once, Kyle. And then it says, wherever you are, be there. It's a quote from Jim Rohn, old personal development guy. Wherever you are, be there. Stay focused, and give them your full presence. Number 4, stories. We don't share enough stories during our sales work and our follow-up and our meetings. Don't tell me, well, for this countertop, you could choose Corian. Here's kind of some of the benefits of that. You could also go granite. There's different versions of that. Here's some options there. Yeah, those are facts. Facts tell, stories sell. Say, hey, what you guys are about to face is exactly what so many of our clients are kind of deciding between. And just last week, we had met with some homeowners who are going through the same process as you, and they're right at that countertop selection process time. They went to the granite and the Corian and this and that. And here's kind of what they were thinking. That's way more interesting. We are wired as humans to resonate with stories. Keep telling more stories in your sales work. All of you have a story of, well, they didn't go with us. And then about 3 months later, 2 months later, they called and said, hey, we're wondering if you can come and fix this horror story that we got going. You've got all kinds of stories. Make sure you're tracking them. Number 5, time kills deals. Time kills deals. Cycle time from the time that you meet with them at the initial appointment to the time you put a proposal in front of them. From the time you sign the design and development agreement to the time that you present the first design to them. Cycle time. Time kills deals. If you let things linger and linger and linger, the likelihood that you bring that prospect to a paying client goes down and down and down. Time kills deals. Be reminded of that. That's such a huge aspect of success in your sales process. And number 6 kind of helps with this. Schedule your next meeting before ending the current one. This could be a takeaway. If you're not doing this, make sure this is a takeaway. This is one of the, I probably got 8 or 9, key things that I teach that I hear often come back to me of like, this was incredibly helpful to us. If you end a meeting and you have some updates to a proposal to do or updates to a design to do, and you say, hey, I'll get back to you early next week. Here we are on Thursday, and we say early next week. You have all the intention in the world of getting it back to them early next week, and then all of a sudden it's the following Thursday, and you're going, crap, I haven't gotten back to them yet. Does that ever happen to anybody? Schedule the next meeting before ending the current one. Hey, let's schedule a 30-minute Zoom call for Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Would that work for you? Awesome. Or I'll stop back out here on this day and time. When you give yourself that self-imposed deadline, you will figure out how to get it done, and it keeps the process moving. It reduces cycle time. And as we know, time kills deals. Number 7, have an organized sales pipeline. Get into stinking JobTread. Organize your sales pipeline. I should be able to go in there and without you saying anything to me, know exactly who are in the different buckets of your sales pipeline. People that you're at the initial call with, people that you've done a proposal for that haven't signed, people if you're doing the design and development phase, Spend the time, make sure you have that process dialed in. When we have an organized sales pipeline, it makes number 8 so much easier of following up. When we don't have an organized sales pipeline, half of the time, 60% of the time we should be spending on follow-up, we're actually just spending trying to figure out who to follow up with instead of actually doing it. Time spent keeping your sales pipeline organized is time very, very well spent. Rock and roll. Please give me a takeaway from core pillar number 3 of the sales process. And we're cruising right along. We're going to finish this 4th one, and we're going to have about 10 minutes or so for some Q&A. But give me some, give me a takeaway or something you're going to work on or something you need to prioritize when it comes to the sales side of things. Ooh, if you don't have your process written out, that could be a big one. Ben says, schedule next meeting before you end the current one. Ooh, I'm seeing some good stuff on the marketing one too. Schedule next meeting at current meeting. Double exclamation mark, Toby put. This ain't even, he's serious about that one. Cass said streamline timeline and schedule meeting / call. Yes. Excellent. Okay, cool. And then the 4th one I have here is under leadership. It's a pillar we need to always keep working to improve. Always keep working to improve. So some thoughts related to the leadership pillar. Your team's kind of reminder here, your team plays an oversized role in client satisfaction, in your stress level as maybe a leader in your business, in your reputation and how people view your company, how smoothly processes work, and how well things are done. There's just a big difference between an A team of a group and a B- team. What I have, this is probably something that's just become so much clearer to me year by year in my coaching and seeing at this point hundreds of remodeling and contracting businesses. It's amazing how when your team is sharper, is you're getting rid of kind of dead weight that shouldn't be there and recruiting better talent. It's amazing how much smoother your processes and systems go. Sometimes we think we got a B- team, somebody that just doesn't have good attention to detail, somebody that's doesn't have a thirst for improving and learning, somebody that kind of just goes through the motion, a B- team member. They're not horrible, so they stick around, but they're not good and they drag things down. It's almost the worst. If they're a D player, they'd already be off. That B- player. It's amazing how sometimes we're like, oh, if we just had a better checklist, oh, if we just had a better process. Sometimes that's the case, but oftentimes it's the quality of that employee that can make or break it. You look at any business, period, any business that you respect that seems to just really be thriving and growing and is kind of on fire, it is going to be so apparent that it is about the team, the team, the team. The team, the team, the team. It's a Bo Schembechler quote if anybody wanted to know. Okay, so just kind of a reminder on that. Is there anyone you need to let go of? Employee-wise, trade partner-wise? If you do, are you actively recruiting? Do you have active recruiting going to try to find a replacement for them? Also, is there a new position to hire for, and kind of what's your plan? Sometimes we're struggling as a team because we are past capacity. Everybody on the team is over capacity in their workload. Therefore, things are frustrating. Things are slipping through the cracks. Sometimes we have a capacity problem. We need to add more team members. Do you have a new position to hire for, and what's your game plan for that? Okay. Some other things, some other little tidbits on the leadership conversation. Other things I see too often. Most of you don't meet as a team nearly enough. And I would highly recommend working on that and getting in a regular cadence. Each one of you, that's going to be a little different depending on your business, depending on who's on your team. But chances are, if you think back, if you're running a meeting, a team meeting that has an agenda, that has some times next to each agenda item, and you're consistent with meeting, wow, you have an advantage. You have an upper leg on things. It's when we aren't meeting consistently to work on streamlining things, improving the process, etc. When we don't have an agenda, And then we just fall into, instead of actually working on key things, we end up just ranting about projects we have going on. And then when you don't have any kind of time note details on it, those meetings are just murky. Most of you don't meet as a team nearly enough. Get basic fundamental best practices going with your team meetings, and you start consistently doing that. A lot of the communication troubles you're having, some of your systems that are clunky, will improve consistently month by month. That one might be a takeaway. Some of you just need to get back to what you were doing meeting wise. Some of you need to start it. A couple other leadership items. Are we clear with who is doing what? Is there murkiness there? Who is responsible for all of the different key tasks? Sometimes we need to dust that off. Things change. You hired this person, you fired that person. That sometimes is something from a leadership standpoint you need to work on. Another thing, do they see what their future with you looks like? When you talk about A players, people that you can really depend on, that truly takes responsibility, and you don't have to worry when they are in charge of fill in the blank. If you're not giving them something exciting that they see in the business, they see growth potential, they see ways that they continue to improve in their career and in their skill level. A lot of times, if it's kind of crappy leadership, you're always mad, you're always frustrated, eventually those A players are going to slide over to a new management team that gives them something to be excited about. So make sure you're talking to them about, how that's going. What do they need more of? What do they need less of? That's part of leadership. And then this is kind of similar to the first one. How often are you checking in with your team individually? And I'm talking one-on-one time. Sitting down and having a one-on-one meeting to just check in and say, how are things going? How else can I help you? What would you like to see improved? Is there any training that I can provide? How's just life going? How's your life going? What are you excited about these days? Is there anything I can do to help? Sitting down and not talking about the project, but talking about them and how you can make it a more enjoyable place for them to work is incredibly valuable time spent. Once a month with key team members? Is that too much to ask? You don't have to do that every week. Once a month, if you carve out and make a one-on-one meeting with each of your key team members, and who's not a key team member, depending on the size of your business, right? Make time for that. Cool. So we hit on financials, we hit on marketing, we hit on sales process, we hit on leadership. I wanted to open up each of those 4 key pillars, look inside a little bit, give you a little encouragement, give you some things to think about, help you set some priorities and focus. And hopefully you grabbed a few takeaways from this that you can then go do something with. So we got about 10 minutes left. Eric was mentioning my Facebook group. That's what this Remodelers community is. Remodelers community. If you scan that, or if you just go to remodelerscommunity.com, it's a very active, helpful, wonderful, encouraging Facebook group.
Yeah, it really is a great group. And Kyle, just so you know, our devs are on it. They just pushed out the update. So now directly from the JobTread marketplace on the Remodelers on the Rise tile, you can now click and it'll take you straight to that Facebook group. Highly recommend you join that group.
Cool. And if you go into that JobTread marketplace and you fill out that little form, I get an email that says, hey, so-and-so wants to talk to you about coaching and more about what you do. I've had some JobTread friends reach out about that.
Yeah.
This middle one is Remodelers Vault. Just a lot of free templates, tools, resources, just a really nice little deal there. And then this is a link to the podcast. Cool. So why don't we grab some questions, see if there's some questions out there. Also would love for you, now that you've kind of seen all 4 pillars. All right. A lot of good stuff there. Here is my main thing that I am going to work on as a result of participating in this webinar today. I would love to see that, and also some questions.
Yeah, very awesome information too, Kyle. I mean, I can't reiterate enough the importance of hiring and building an A team. Like it's just so important.
Yeah.
And we're constantly, always be recruiting, just having those job posts out, on your website, so that anytime people are searching for a job in your area, that might be a role that you've got open, like, eventually, hopefully you start ranking for that from an SEO standpoint. But, we also run ads on, Indeed, and just kind of keep them open. Another one of our partners, the contractor staffing source, is a great resource as well, where they kind of help sort of manage that on an ongoing basis. But I can't agree anymore. Like building the right team is just the most important thing. And I think, the number one role of any leader.
Yep. So yeah, contractor staffing source, they manage the whole kit and caboodle, of posts, etc. Somebody else asked tips for finding A players. Another gentleman who spoke at an event that I put on for my clients here recently. If you go to core matters.com, gentleman named Ryan England, he comes at the recruiting side of things in a very different and unique way. Kind of read some of his stuff. And then as far as tips for finding A players, it's some of this is just flat out hustle. Pick up the phone, call people that used to work for you and see that. Ask every meeting you have, talk to your existing clients. Who do they know? Yes, talk to the guy at the lumberyard, talk to your rep for this. Get really clear with what you're looking for. Get those postings up. When you do receive somebody that fills out a resume and submits it, get back to them really quick. Time kills deals. Okay. Toby said, Remodelers Vault is a rich, generous resource. Yeah, thank you. Good. Rajiv said, bathroom remodeler here, answer probably is, it depends, but wondering what your typical percent for sales commission for commission-only sales staff. Rajiv, it depends. He was looking for that. Do you have an answer for that, Eric?
I mean, I'll say when I ran the GC, we basically gave both our sales and our project manager 10% commission on the gross profit of the job. So they were aligned. They were had the same incentive, made it easy to kind of just everybody marching to the same drum. Making sure that we're going to hit that gross profit margin.
So $25,000 job, $10,000 gross profit, 10% of that, they're making $1,000 on that. So yeah, there's just a lot of factors that go into that. Your average job size, your average margin, just a lot of details on that. So tough one to answer, but cool. Give us some more questions here. Let's fill this time solidly. And then each person, I see a bunch of people: Ashley, Ben, Bob, Brian, Cass, Chad, Cheryl, Chris. I keep going. What is your main takeaway from what we covered? Don't get out of here without telling us what your main takeaway is. Jason, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Jeff, Jesse, Chris.
So Kyle, you got one question. A budget for recruiting. Is it just like a marketing budget? I assume they're kind of wanting to know how do you determine how much to allocate towards that?
Yeah, budget for recruiting, just like the marketing budget. Yeah, so yes, when you create your business budget and you get down to that recruiting line item, for a lot of people, it's very minimal in there. Think about what a new wonderful employee is worth to you, and when you do the math on it, it equals tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah. So do not be shy about spending some good money on the recruiting side of things. Hire a videographer and interview your team members, and have that interviewer talk to your current team members about what they love working, why they love working for you, why they love their job. Create a video about that. Put that on your job posting. There are so many different ideas and creative ideas. That's why I was mentioning that corematters.com. He comes at it from a whole different approach of 70% of people out there who are currently employed are open to the idea of changing companies, but they're not actively looking. And if we can continue to kind of be fishing out there and put the right bait out there and be fishing in the right spots, it can make a big difference. So yeah.
The reality too is, I mean, you want the people that are employed who have a job. I mean, they're going to be your most likely a great fit, great candidate, A player. So it is important to make sure you're putting those resources out there to try to attract them to you.
Yep. Jackie said, is the Facebook page group for specialty business or only actual remodelers? So most everybody are kitchens, baths, additions, that type of work. So you can request to join and then fill that out and put your information in there. And then unfortunately, I am the judge and the jury of that. One of the value points of it is I don't let everybody in, and the level of conversation is pretty high. So Jackie, give it a shot. Sarah, my dear friend Sarah says, I'm going to start doing regular one-on-ones with my team. Want to give them an easy path to share how they're feeling, vent if necessary, in a way I can show opportunities for growth. Yes, doing that even once a month would be amazing. Chris said, main takeaway, much more BLBs in my life, emphasis on the second B. All right. I didn't tell everybody to just drink a bunch of beer, but I get your point, Chris. Strategic partners, anybody who shares the same ideal client as you do. If you were sitting down in front of architects and designers and realtors and breaking bread and having some relationship building there, that is really good marketing. It will come back to you. Ashley said, putting together a plan, maybe an email list to keep in touch with previous clients and also the contractors we have worked with in the past and currently. It is one of your most valuable marketing assets. They already have know, like, and trust with you, and we need to stay top of mind with them. Marketing is coming up more and more. Things are not as crazy busy for the industry as a whole than they have been in the last couple of years. It's been a little bit harder to get people to sign on the dotted line due to interest rates, due to whatever case you might say. So we need to get back to tried and true marketing. We need to consistently market in a lot of different ways and generate more leads. So Ashley, do that.
One thing, Kyle,
yeah,
I've seen people starting to do is, at the end of the job, maybe 3 months or 6 months out, you just schedule a task to follow up and check in. Just again, puts it on your to-do list just at that right time to help you remember, to stay on top of that.
Yeah, love it. Lorena says, how much would you say an estimator should be making if they bring in 500 to 100 million or 1 million in sales? Again, a lot of different factors there, but it's hard for them to be in the well into the 6 figures if they are bringing in 500K. I know that. They're bringing in $1 million, and it says estimator, but if that's a salesperson, if they're bringing in $1 million, again, it also depends on the types of projects they're bringing in. If I'm doing new construction, it's going to be a lower percentage. If I'm doing specialty work has got a higher margin in the 40, 50 range, that's a little bit different. So don't have a great answer for you without a little bit more detail. Toby says, is the Remodelers Autopilot appropriate for regular addition to your website as well as social media? Yeah, if you're a remodeler, as far as consistency in social media posts and the email newsletter, it's a really nice fit. As far as repurposing some of the content as blog posts, putting some keywords in there, there's some good approaches there. Ben says, main takeaway, schedule next meeting before current one ends, and Astros are still better than the Rangers. Any thoughts, Eric?
Well, I don't think that's what the scoreboard says.
Hey, Ben, why don't you go hit some drums and then come back in a minute? Michaela, set goals for every core pillar and give realistic expectations towards when and how we can accomplish those goals and the team, starting with the website and JobTread flow. Wonderful. BNI groups, so I got some thumbs up there. BNI forces you to network every single week. Can be good. Make sure your group is of a decent size and are hungry to send referrals, and then do some BLBs with the key people. Wonderful. So Eric, I'm cognizant of the time. Don't want to keep our friends too late, but I think we had some mission accomplished here.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate everyone coming out, taking the time to learn a little bit more from Kyle. And Kyle, thank you for your time and for continuing to create so much great education, here today, but again, on your podcast and in your groups. We just really appreciate everything that you do to help, everybody else. As we all know, a rising tide lifts all boats. So it's just a great resource to have you out there in the community helping, contractors and builders. We very much appreciate you being part of the JobTread community as well. And, look forward to having you at JobTread Connect. Yes, indeed. We'll see you soon. And congratulations on 2,000. That is not a small number. That's it's not a small number. It's definitely, pretty big feat for us. And, we just hit, I think it was 1,000 in January. So quite the growth, overnight. And, yes. it has been through these strategic partnerships, everyone out there helping to create that awareness for JobTread that really, I think, has been the biggest driver for us. So yeah. And I feel like I have to remind you every time I talk to you, people are okay to wait to get their questions answered for more than 5 minutes. I feel like you are just all over it. You see a question, bam, it's within minutes. It can wait a couple hours. I'm just saying, just you can enjoy the World Series champs, etc. Don't think you have to respond every 2 minutes, my man. Chris just said, no, we can't, Kyle. They love the quick response. Yeah. Now, my little secret though is it's usually like, when I wake up in the morning, when I'm driving into the office, when I'm driving home. Well, I guess I shouldn't say, but I got a Tesla. It's on autopilot. Anyways, when after I get the kids down, I try to make sure I catch up on as many of them as I can. But, thankfully we've got a great team here who's also very up on it. And sometimes I see things and then I got to send it out, screenshot to someone else on the team to just check, so sometimes it takes me a little bit longer, but our goal is to make sure every question is answered. You're killing it. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So much. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you.